Reggie Littlejohn is the founder and president of Women's Rights Without Frontiers, a graduate of Yale Law School. She's an acclaimed international expert on China's one-child policy. Now it's their three-child policy. Her organization has been called the leading voice in the battle to expose and oppose forced abortion and gendercide, sex selective abortion of baby girls in China. She's also the co-founder of the Stop Vaccine Passports Task Force. She's dedicated to sounding the alarm about the dangers of digital IDs, which can be used as tools of mass surveillance and control. Similar to China's social credit system, Reggie has testified at the United States Congress, delivered briefings 3 times at the European Parliament, twice at the British, and has spoken at the Irish and Canadian parliaments, The Hague, the United Nations, the State Department, the White House, and the Vatican as well. Welcome, Reggie, to the Economic War Room.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You know,
it's great to be.
It's good having you. We see each other on the Sovereignty Coalition calls and all the webinars that you and Frank Gaffney do. We're just so honored to have you. You've stood up in a way that very few Americans have stood up, based on what you believe, and what you believe lines up with most of the Americans I know.
Right. Well, so the way I got started in this is actually Chinese human rights, Women's Rights Without Frontiers. It describes a woman's right in China to have her baby and not to be forcibly aborted. And that's how I got my start. And we moved from opposing forced abortion in China to helping women not have to be forced by their families to abort or abandon their baby girls. And then that led me to seeing how totalitarianism works in China, led me to seeing it moving to the world, including to the United States. So that's how I ended up. When I saw these vaccine passports, I saw the danger that it could be used as like the China social credit and completely take away our freedoms the way that they are in China. So maybe we could play that video. It's a 3-minute video about saving baby girls in China.
Yeah, no, let's roll it.
Okay.
According to one UN estimate, there are up to 200 million women and girls missing in the world because of sex selective abortion and abandonment. That number, 200 million, is greater than all the casualties of all the wars of the 20th century combined. So for me, this is the true war against women. Something that people don't realize is that even under the new 2-child policy, or even if there was no coercive birth control in China at all, there'd still be gendercide, because people, for whatever reason, they prefer boys over girls. After the 2-child policy was instituted, there was an incident of a woman whose husband forced her to abort 4 baby girls in a year. And then she died. Women's Rights Without Frontiers is unique in that we are the only organization that has a network inside of China that is actively saving baby girls. And we've saved hundreds of baby girls in China. One story that was particularly meaningful to me was of this one woman who was being pressured to have an ultrasound. And she dragged her feet, finally went into the ultrasound, and discovered not only did she have 1, but she was carrying 2 baby girls. So even under the 2-child policy, she would have used up her entire quota, and both of them would have been girls. So her mother-in-law started the pressure for her to abort those baby girls, and she didn't want to. She wanted to give birth to her daughters, and she didn't know what to do. So fortunately, our field worker found out about this and went to her door and said, "Congratulations on your twin daughters. Girls are as good as boys, and we're not only going to offer you 1, but we will offer you 2 monthly stipends for a year to empower you to keep your daughters." And with the encouragement and with the promise of resources, she was able to convince her mother-in-law, convince her husband to allow her to give birth to these girls. And now, of course, everybody's in love with these baby girls. They're totally adorable. And we at Women's Rights Without Frontiers believe that every girl has a right to draw breath on this earth, and that every woman has the right to give birth to her daughter. Girls do not deserve to be terminated just for the crime of being female. Our field workers on the ground in China are incredibly brave. They're flying under the radar screen from the Chinese Communist Party at great risk for themselves. They go in rain, sleet, snow, and make sure that those women get that stipend every month that helps them support their daughters. And they need our help. So I would invite you to join me in what I think is the greatest women's rights battle of our age.